Hello everyone, this is Joymay's channel. I'm May. Now I'm gonna share a article from National Geographic, and it's about Atlas. This interstellar comet could be one of the oldest objects in the entire galaxy. Back in July, scientists operating a planetary defense facility designed to detect potentially hazardous asteroids spotted a visitor from another star, an interstellar object, and the third of its kind ever discovered. The Voyager, known as 3I Atlas, was only visible as a white pixelated topology 420 million miles from Earth. At the time, very little was known about the object except that it was some sort of comet. But over the summer, 3I Atlas has plunged towards the inner solar system, and the fireworks show has begun in earnest. When comets get close to the sun, they develop a sparkly tail and a blooming coma. The halo around the comet's ice nucleus that appears when it begins to vaporize. It's been spectacular so far, says Christina Thomas, a planetary astronomer at Northern Arizona University and one of the comet's observers. Among these anticipated developments, 3I Atlas has also given skywatchers a few surprises, most notably in the composition of its bright coma. For now, scientists can only partially explain these peculiar observations. There is still a lot we don't know, says Martin Cordiner, an astrochemist at the Catholic University of America and another 3I Atlas tracker. Here is the latest on 3I Atlas, the discoveries that have been made and the puzzles that remain. The comet is erupting a lot of carbon dioxide in late August. Astronomers used two powerful Gemini South telescope at the Cerro Patron mountain ridge in Chile to get an up-close and personal look at 3I Atlas. The images revealed an expansive coma and an emerging dusty tail, one at least 35,000 miles long. These observations helped tease out some of the chemical in the coma, one of which was cyanide. To most people, cyanide is familiar as a fast-acting poison, but this is typically the first molecule that is seen in comets as they approach the sun, says Corinne Mitch, an astronomer at the University of Hawaii Institute for Astronomy who led the Gemini South observations. Astronomers expected cyanide to eke out of 3I Atlas as roughly the distance it was observed by Gemini South. So nothing unusual there, says Mitch. But when two place-based telescopes scoped out 3I Atlas, NASA's Spheres Observatory, and the James Webb Space Telescope, they found something bizarre. It's burping out a lot of carbon dioxide, making it a little bit like a deep space fizzy drink. When we think of ice, we naturally picture frozen water. Comets are often made of the stuff, but far from the sun. They can also contain more exotic ices like carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide. That's not unusual. But what is strange is that 3I Atlas seems to be enveloped by a lot of carbon dioxide. Water is normally the dominant thing in comets, says Cardinal, one of the Webb observers. In this case, is quite rare to observe a comet that has more CO2 than water in its coma. In fact, the ratio of carbon dioxide to water into coma is so extreme that scientists aren't sure how to explain it. When we first saw the observations, it was striking. The carbon dioxide flux is just incredibly high, says Thomas, one of the Webb observers. One idea is that the comet's nucleus may very well have a lot of water ice in it, but a crust dominated by other ices like carbon dioxide has formed on its surface. Perhaps for now, this crust is stopping much of 3I Atlas imprisoned water ice from erupting into the coma. The coma is also brimming with weird metals. One of the world's most eagle-eyed optical observatories, Europe's very large telescope VLT, based on Chile Cerro Perennial Mountain, also took a good look at 3I Atlas, and it saw hints of nickel in the coma, a metal typically associated with asteroids, as well as rocky planets like Earth and Mars. Comets are often thought of as balls of ice, but they are more likely muddy snowballs because they also contain some rocky matter. Finding nickel isn't necessarily all on its own, but what's hard to fathom is that the comet is jettisoning nickel nearly 300 million miles away from the sun.